Hello folks and welcome to Game 3 between Team Liquid and Alternate Attacks. I'm really excited. I'm hoping Alternate get to pull out their Invoker, but I'm not sure if they will. Once again, I'm Llama Down Under. I'm going to be joined by Scant, and we have a draft underway. So what do you think is going to happen this game, Scant?
I mean, I think that if I was a betting man, I'd say I'd be betting on Team Liquid. I just don't think like you can go any other direction. I went and checked during the break though. Liquid have only played 2 series since I think the 12th of this month, which is more than 2 weeks ago. So that's I suspect. I mean, one of those series was them winning D2CL Season 6, but the other one was I think a couple of days ago. So I think there's some rust. I think maybe they haven't been playing. I don't know about their scrims because occasionally in the previous game, at least I don't know about the game before, they just didn't look their normal selves. They didn't look like things were quite right. If things go smoothly for them, I do expect them to be the stronger team here. At the same time, Team Alternate have impressed me and have impressed me in the past. And Supreme in particular, I think stands out as a player who can really like up his game to the level of the occasion. So always interested to see what he's going to be on. You said he played Invoker first game. He had the DP in the previous game, which there was kind of a 10-minute phase where the DP was like the hero on top of the game. Didn't last that well. There's the Invoker.
Yeah, they were going to pick it. No way they're letting it get banned. It is so crucial for them. They teamfight so well around this hero on Alternate, and it just feels like... I mean, we mentioned a couple of places last game where Alternate really showed that they could fight well around the Invoker. Fight well around as a team. With the Invoker, they just do it so much better, which of course, it's a bit easier, right? Quas, Wex, Invoker, not hard to build a team fight around that.
Does he only play Quaswex, or does he sometimes play Exorts?
I feel like I've seen one Exort game out of him, but I feel like just with the way the games are going, the way they draft, they frequently pick him Quaswex. I have to imagine he can do both, but...
Quaswex is definitely the more popular build right now in general. I think there's very few I think Sumail plays Exort Invoker, and I think just about every other Invoker in Pro Dota right now favors Quaswex. So it probably is Quaswex, and I think you're exactly right what you're alluding to, that things being so based on team fights, having all those extra control spells very useful. Interesting yet to see Liquid go for the Queen of Pain again. Immediately you got to ask, is it going to be another support Queen of Pain? I mean, it was extremely successful in the last game, and even if they're not planning it now, Team Alternate have to be thinking, we don't actually know if that's a support or a core, and it puts them in a weak position in the draft because they have less information about their opponents going into the last few picks.
Yeah, on the other hand, if they can just play their own game, I think if they can, I mean, I know it sounds a bit weird, but I think that if you say, okay, whether it's core or not, we probably want a little bit of lockdown for this hero. It's going to be a pain because Sonic Wave is always powerful. Maybe it's just saying get Invoker big, make sure he can get up that silence, that Orchid, so that he can do a lot of work on someone like the Quap and play around that. But I'm interested to see what core, because I have to assume this is offlane Slaughter and not the one position, which we see occasionally. Just because I feel like one position Slaughter is a bit underwhelming, but they've already picked up the Disruptor, and this is kind of a Quap counter if I've seen one.
Yeah, it's very good against Quap. It's also very good with Slaughter because of that amp damage and the chase ability. So Disruptor makes a lot of sense here. I think it even synergizes well with the Invoker because you got the long range Tornado, you've got that super fast move speed. It's not, I mean, if it is a support Quap, it's not going to bother that much that you can like counter the blink of the support Quap. Sure, it's significant, but it's a support interacting with another support. But maybe this makes Team Liquid think twice about running the Quap as a core. I'm not too sure. There's obviously a glimpse into Static Storm is going to be a kill usually on that hero, but the hero needs to be running away for that to happen in the first place. And because the blink range is 1,300, even if you have the lightning strike on Quap, it's possible for it to blink too far for you to glimpse sometimes, especially before it's level 4.
I agree with that, and I think it leaves them very flexible.
Well, this does too.
Yeah, right. We're not sure if this is support or mid.
Yeah, so both the Quap and the Lina could be support or mids quite easily. We expect Matimberman to be playing that Gyrocopter. The task is it could be Yerax or Mind Control. I mean it's a signature Yerax support hero, so I would probably err more on that side.
They both do play it though, right?
Yeah, Mind Control definitely plays it.
I think they both have a 80%. It's actually really funny. I remember looking at their team stat and deciding something didn't add up because they have like a 78% win rate on the Tusk, and then Jerax and Mind Control have 80% win rate on the hero, and I was like, something Nothing's wrong here. But I think it's just a case of, there were maybe a few games where those two there was stand-ins instead, where it was played. But either way, heroes that both are comfortable with, leaves them flexible again. So now we don't know, does Team Liquid, do they need an offlaner? Do they need... I'm assuming now that the Quap or the Lina is probably core, but there's still so many options. And Team Alternate just go with the Spirit Breaker. Nice way to reveal Blinks.
Yeah, Lina's gotta be core now. Like, you can't run a core... Like, Queen of Pain is so weak against Spirit Breaker. It's like... It's one of the worst... It may be, for me, the worst hero for Queen of Pain to be against, because regardless of whether you get the blink off, he's gonna catch you. And together with the Disruptor, that chase ability, Starladder sprints, I don't fancy the chances of a core Queen of Pain, like, getting snowballing or like, tempo controlling this game. I think that the Lina would make a lot more sense. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Queen of Pain could be like the 3 position in like some kind of dual lane. I could get behind that. But I actually think I do prefer it as a support here in general. Interesting that Team Alternate ban out the Batrider, so they're expecting both supports are picked already, as we said, and that there's a mind control hero still coming.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see. I feel like they could really throw them for a loop, but I'm not, no support here is really ringing in my mind as something that would really help shut down this Invoker or Slaughter. I mean, you can try for something, I guess, like the Skywrath with a strong silence, but overall that hero is weak in other aspects, and maybe something where Team Liquid actually want more lockdown. But if they are looking for an offlaner, Clockwork is still in the pool.
Yeah, I mean, so it's such an interesting dynamic in this draft so far, because Team Alternate have great heroes to kind of like chase people down and snowball out of control. But at the same time, they have like the obvious weakness of that kind of draft. And I spoke about in the previous game how Wraith King is a hero that wants to be like 1 item ahead, wants to be like threatening you, not catching up all the time. And I almost feel like Team Ultimate's draft so far is the whole draft is kind of like Wraith King. It's like, if they're on the back foot, most of the heroes don't do a lot. If they're on the front foot, they like you're just not going to recover. And so I wonder if Liquid's thinking now, like, do we get a hero that has like more potential to just be reactive and stable and not like feed into their momentum? Because if Liquid kind of stabilize the game and take control of it, a lot of alternates are just not doing a lot. Disruptor like doesn't do that much in a passive game. Same with Spirit Breaker, even Slaughter. At the same time, Alternate's 5th pick is probably going to be looking to push even further in that like forced aggression. There we go. TA comes up for Liquid, and I think that's a pretty good example of what I was talking about. It's a hero that's very, very difficult to kill.
And it just completely... I mean, they do actually have a decent amount of lockdown, but as you said, she's difficult to kill. And a lot of teams, I've asked players, we won't have time after this set, and I don't know if the teams would have agreed, although Alternate, when they win, have definitely offered us an interview afterwards, but we'll have to rush right into Na'Vi versus HR. I've asked players after games, and they've talked about they say, like, sometimes you just accidentally forget TAs in a draft, and you don't ban her, and she rolls over you. You just don't have enough heroes picked that deal with her. And I do think Spirit Breaker can help a little bit here. Disruptor with a glimpse back maybe puts her in a bad position. It's still something where you need a lot, and Refraction, Burn, I mean, under Static Storm it does. Other than that, not an easy way to get through these, I'm seeing.
Yeah, I mean, Questworks and Invoker will have good attack speed. The Cold Snap procs could help. EMP is pretty good against TA, but I mean, it's not that they're gonna find it impossible to kill her. It's that they're not gonna be able to like snowball through her, and that's kind of what their lineup wants to do so far. Like just isolate any targets and just like go. And I think that's the TA in particular here, and maybe the Tusk too to a less extent. Well, Tusk could do this for his allies too. Are going to be a bit of a roadblock to that aggression that they want to go for.
Yeah. So. Waiting on Lost pickup. I really hope it's not something like the Wraith King, but I'm not seeing other great options. I mean, it doesn't feel like they can go super hard carry territory like a Spectre. It also doesn't feel like they can go... I mean, there's a lot of kite here again from Quap, and they go with the Ursa. Yeah. They ran this first game.
Oh really? How did it go there?
Well, they dominated. So, but different
was it
heroes,
mostly the Invoker?
Right? No, it was both of them. What happened is there was an SF who had a lot of trouble making. Well, they picked Leshrac on Team Liquid. I think is really what brought them down. And the Ursa was very good about jumping onto the backlines, killing off the Leshrac before he could do mass amounts of damage.
Okay, I see. Well, I mean, Ursa fits in here perfectly in terms of the like, let's be super aggressive and try snowball strategy. And I think, I don't know the interaction, but I suspect that when Ursa's attacking TA with Refracton, he's still going to be building up Fury Swipes charges, even though those hits don't deal damage. And then when they start dealing damage, it's already quite a lot. I mean, either way, he's going to be able to, if he wants to, take that off pretty fast. As far as like heroes, as far as like right clicking heroes go, he probably takes it faster than just about anyone.
Yeah, it is one way to deal with it, and of course, as Ursa gets more points, more farm, he can get stuff like the Basher and so on, or whatever he so chooses, but either way, I'm super interested to see. I don't believe I've actually casted a game where Forta has been on the Templar Assassin, and again, is support co-op. I'm really excited by this. Oh, the only thing I think is a downside, I don't know if you have this type of thing in your life, but I have that one friend who's always trying to run like Drow and co-op as supports, and it's just, he's not going to shut up after this, but other than that, everything is grand.
Yeah, no, there's people like that everywhere in the world. But I mean, I gotta say, I think support co-op is completely legit. I think if you know what to do, if you know how to exploit it early on, and it's interesting because last game we saw that early Shadow Strike making up a 2-0 lead, but sometimes you actually take Blink at level 1 and snipe the enemy courier, or like there's a lot of things you can get out of this hero.
I'm actually really surprised, I have to say, that they didn't all rotate as one group on Liquid, and try to get a 5-man snowball off. I feel like that's generally the strat when you have a Tusk. And I mean, Tusk has caught Robert out here a little bit. Robert should be able to wander around the ice shards before backup comes in for Liquid. And if they had taken, 5 of them grouped up together and snowballed in on him, this would be easy first blood.
Yeah. It's something else about the support co-op, by the way. It's gonna actually show the weakness of the pick as a support hero if alternate get the early game they want. If they're like snowballing and just making kill after kill after kill, under leveled support co-op is gonna be like almost completely useless. So that would be one symptom of I think is a game that's gonna be decided very early on. I think that if either team gets a big lead early on, it's very unlikely that the other team will recover. It's almost impossible for alternate to fight from behind in this game. Liquid can, but it's difficult because there'll be a lot of pressure. And I see Crow's actually gone for the Shadow Strike first again, and just getting some harass off on Exotic Deer.
Yeah, if they have to force him to use some regen here, it's something he doesn't have in lane, so I think a really nice play there. We're going to see the general split that we have coming out, but Snowball, Tusk, thinking about coming up top, really confused by this. He just throws out an ice shards. Oh goodness, that was funny. He was pinging to his team like I blocked him, and just no such luck. You can kind of reach through the ice shards for things like the rune. So with that, we'll get in.
Sorry, continue.
Oh no, I was just gonna say we'll get in and we should introduce the players because I forgot because there was a little bit of action. So just quickly gonna do alternate. We have L on that Disruptor, finally not playing Bane. Supreme, of course, playing the Invoker. Slaughter is gonna be played by Nisha. Bearman is being played by Exotic Deer, and finally that Robert G is gonna be on Spirit Breaker.
Yeah, and obviously Fedda's on his TA in that mid lane. Dirax on the Tusk. Signature hero roaming around the map. Safe lane with Superman, Gyrocopter, just like last game, and in the off lane at the moment it's actually a dual lane, just how they started in the previous game. Mind controls Lina and Gross Quap.
I have to say the least expected thing for me here is mind control on Lina. Obviously with the Quap there it's a little bit easier, but if the Quap leaves and does what I'm expecting her to, I feel like this maybe puts mind control in a bad position. It's really easy to avoid that light strike array when you have a movement skill like Sprint, and then you can really get up in her face and start hitting away at her.
I mean, it's a good read of the game though. Lina does actually fit quite well into aggressive dual lanes, sometimes even tri lanes I think, and it's a good read of the game by Liquid that it's going to be aggressive tri lane coming out from alternate, and so that means that actually Queen of Pain probably could rotate to the mid lane, leave Lina alone. 1v1 with Slaughter is not going to be that much of an issue as long as there aren't supports here, and if the supports do leave the top lane, suddenly Gyrocopter and Tusk are going to be having a good time. Because there's this pressure on alternate who really want to be the team that has a great start, so they need to be like reinforcing the lanes where they want to start making kills, and it is this top lane, but I actually don't see where the kills are going to come from in this top lane if Yerax is on points and always awake and ready.
And speaking of troubles in top lane, Exotic Deer getting caught a little bit stuck by the ice shards, and also in mid, of course, Templar Assassin is dominating the Invoker. I mean, we expected this matchup to be rough for an Invoker. I think he needs his lane to be the one where they attempt to gank, because otherwise he's just going to fall so far behind, and the Templar Assassin will snowball.
Yeah, but it's tough, right? Ganking ATA early on is difficult, especially also when you're running an aggressive lane, so there's a lot of information on where your heroes are all the time. It's not like they could be like pulling or stacking their own jungle. And Kuro's actually got an early TP scroll and Queen of Pain as well, just in case there's a dive in any of the lanes.
And Pod has gone for that early point in meld, so it does make it even harder, right? They're going to need vision if they want to go for this gank, though speaking of which, refractions all popped up, Ice Shards is blocking the way, and Supreme needs some sort of help, is probably just going to fall to the auto attacks. One more will do it, and that's our first blood, but they're not done yet. Snowball coming over onto Disruptor, and L probably wishing he wasn't there. The glimpse away, but he gets out on 2 health. He may have actually gone down to 1. And I missed when he was at 1. So, Disruptor living with just a tiny bit of health. Suicides to neutrals, of course. But Potter is already showing how strong Templar Assassin can be.
Yeah, and Kuro and Mind Control actually killed Slaughter while that was happening. So, the lead is going Liquid's way. This is how the very early beginning of the previous game also started. And then there were some hiccups for them. But I think that this game is just, I don't know, it's constituted in a way that's if the direction of, if you look at that gold graph, just open that gold graph, if it keeps going that way for another like 5 minutes, I really think it's close to over. I know like we as casters, we're not meant to say stuff like that, but ATN have a draft which really wants to snowball, and if they're the ones that are dying, well, they're gonna go in on the gyrocopter to the top lane. No, cancelling that, yeah.
It's not something I think they can do, and in fact, Robert probably gonna fall here. The snowball, one more auto attack will get it. Tusk getting that kill, and now it looks like they're diving onto bottom. They get the Dragon Slave off. Quap coming in, thinking about throwing out a Shadow Strike if she can just find Nisha. Nisha wandering around, has that sprint, so looks like he'll get away. But as you said, I mean, we're 4 minutes in, and we have a 3,000 gold lead for Liquid. That's a little ridiculous.
Yeah, and well, Exotic Deer is actually in trouble here as well.
Yeah, they're taking a lot of damage. Exotic Deer is going to go down. They do have a charge coming out towards Mind Control. They're pinging her out. They're going to go for this. Nisha going in. Slithering Crush should be coming. He goes for it. Manages to get it off. Light Strike Array, though. It could hit 2 of them. They're very close up. She's going for it. They managed to split and avoid it, but Nisha, he's so low. One more auto attack will do it. They'll get Mind Control. Or will they? Pops the salve. She's walking around. She's still salving up. Oh, the Ice Shards come in. They do manage to get her. Robert is somewhere in the trees. Actually charges out. I think it would have been safer to hide. He goes for Kuroki, but now he might just be kited around. Kuroki is also popping a salve, has the Shadow Strike, and Robert in a lot of trouble. Jarex doesn't have any mana. Let's see what they can do here. Robert, you gotta juke. You gotta hide, but there comes the mana. He goes for the charge onto Kuro. If he can get a bash here, he gets it, and now Tusk is killed under the tower as well. Not at all how I thought that engagement was gonna go down.
Yeah, actually Liquid, none of the heroes needed to die. I think that Lena dies because Quap blocks her a little bit, and then, okay, at least getting the kill there, but Tusk and Queen of Pain dying at the end just because they underestimate the fact that Spirit Breaker, one of the reasons it's picked as a support hero, is that it has really good base armor, base stats, HP, so it's just super tanky. It has the Star Shield, and they were like, oh, this guy's so low, we'll just finish him off, but no, not gonna happen, it's a Spirit Breaker, so being kind of punished for it. I do like the rotation from the Spirit Breaker though, because that aggressive tri lane is just not working, and the limitation on alternates is that Spirit Breaker and Disrupt are just not they're not versatile supports, they're supports that need to be aggressive. They need to be capitalizing on the enemy team trying to run away, and they're really good at chasing them, so, you know, find something else to do. Spirit Breaker actually charging in again at the bot lane.
I think it's a better place to get kills than maybe elsewhere. Mind Control, an easier, squishier hero, and without the Quap around, it's certainly something where you can actually get the kill. The Light Strike Array only hits on 1, and there's only an 8-second cooldown on Slithering Crush, so we should be seeing another one coming out. But instead, the charge has to be used, and oh no, here comes Walrus Man, the Light Strike Array hits. She's in the snowball, they're gonna have to wait on the Slithering Crush. They catch out Mind Control. Jarex does have a haste, so he should be able to wander away, and there's a cooldown coming in. Robert, he doesn't have charge for 2 more seconds, and it looks like he'll be dead, but he gets the bash! Gyrocopter's gonna finish them off, but holy Hannah, this RNG on this Spirit Breaker.
Yeah, well, it's pseudo random these days, but yeah, it's I was saying earlier, you can leave Lena alone because you know the enemy supports are top, but when one of them is a Spirit Breaker and he can just like charge across the map really quickly, suddenly it's not safe to leave Lena alone at the spot lane.
Yeah. I even think with just a Slaughter, it's really worrisome. I mean, he also has, what is it actually? It's not 17% on his. I was like, it goes up to 25, so definitely doesn't start at 17. But Slaughter, also a hero that can be a real pain. Now they're charging onto Kuroki. I'm a little bit surprised by this. We also have some engagement. Jerax wrapping around. Kuroki's just gonna blink away, and guess who is there? But they glimpse it back in. I don't know if that's exactly what they wanted to do. They're gonna get him with that Thunder Strike, and now Robert G has to get out. They lost the Ursa for it, so not very worth it. At the same time, at least they're showing some aggression, I think, on alternate, and some ganks are latching.
Yeah, they're thinking that Tusk is going to now be covering Lina, and so they can do that dive. If the Queen of Pains alone, it's a very, very easy kill, and Ursa's not going to die, but because the Tusk is there, evens it out, and in fact, I think favors Liquid. But I agree with you, at least we're seeing signs of aggression, we're seeing some success in that aggression, and that means there's signs of life in Team Alternate still in this series.
So they're gonna see, oh, we're going on top again. We got the bashes, Axe, not Axeman, Jerax going down. I read the Axe spot and was like, what's going on? But yeah, I saw a bash, just charge man things. So Spirit Breaker gonna be very happy. We've also got Templar Assassin. Now, we haven't checked in on her in a while. She's up there on the top of the net worth chart. Hasn't gotten any kills since the early one, but it's certainly someone where they do have... Oh, Lina, is she going to get something off? Light Strike Array stopped by the Slithering Crush, and Slaughter will just sprint on out, wasting a lot of time, actually, when you think about it. Ancient stacks. There are none for Templar. Okay, I don't know if she also took some. I don't feel like she did, looking at her gold.
I am not sure. She might have. I also wasn't really paying attention to that.
I'm pretty sure she didn't. She would have been a bit further ahead. And I think I have to say, this is, you mentioned it earlier, it's really hard when you're running such aggressive lanes for both sides to have time to stack, just because you're constantly, you know, Dia's down here, Radiant's up there, that's not exactly where you want to stack. I think this is actually great for alternate, because while they don't have a great catch-up mechanic in the jungle, so stacks maybe not as useful for them, Templar Assassin certainly is expecting stacked Ancients.
Yeah, that's definitely true. There's a charge on Jerax. He doesn't know that they can see him. He's just trying to go place wards. They've actually seen him place the ward. And that's good value from the charge, even if they don't kill him. But it looks like they might be able to do that too.
There's an ice shot, the charge, oh, he stops it with the snowball. There's gonna be a nice EMP tornado coming out. Botta still has a lot of refractions, and here comes the cooldown. Slaughter's been taken out already. Supreme has to get all the way out of there. Flag Cannon doing a lot of work. They pick up Kuroki, but now Exotic Deer is in a really bad spot. He pops that ult, taking 80% less damage, but he's cut off. I think he has to turn and fight. He's burning through the refraction charges, but it's a new set, fresh up. Exotic Deer needs help. We see that Invoker goes down, he goes down, L goes down. Only when making out alive is the Spirit Breaker, and not the team fight they were looking for, and they haven't, I mean, they know the ward's there, they haven't de-warded it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's an extent to which Liquid occasionally show that they underestimate or maybe don't respect Alternate enough. And occasionally they come together and make these plays where they just show like, look, we're the more experienced, we're the seasoned team here, we're gonna wipe you. But like with that Spirit Breaker at bot, where two of them just died, it's a lesson that every team I think has to learn at some point, that just because you're supposed to be the better team in the series doesn't mean you can just, you know, do whatever the hell you want. And Jerax now maybe the one who's going to be punished.
Except they're charging in onto the Lina. They have to get the damage onto Jerax. He has some creeps he can snowball to instead. He goes in, but there's a cooldown. One more auto attack on Jerax would have gotten the kill. Botta is here now, though. Exotic Deer tries to use that ground pound to slow them all down, and will it be enough? Earthshock doing good work, and Supreme walks away. So they get the clean kill. Not exactly the biggest that they want, but it is something. And as I say, clean kill. Supreme taking a lot of damage. If Mind Control comes in here, Laguna Blade could just get the kill. They need something to stop. She goes for the Dragon Slave. Here comes Kuro. Gets charged through, though. Needs some help. We're seeing Lina taking a lot of damage. Oh my goodness, the Sonic Wave misses coming out from Kuro. Supreme is just standing right next to them. She can just scream on you, Supreme. She might just kill you. Uses the tornado to stop the teleport. Spotter in a bad spot, but he may just kill them all. There's a charge coming out from Kuro. They managed to, or onto Kuro. They managed to kill off Kuro. Spotter has refractions up. He's gonna pop them. 17 more seconds on that. The glimpse comes backwards. They need to burn through these refractions. Fodder looking to work on Robert. No, he is just looking to get all the way out. Earn charges come out, and goodbye Fodder. That was a dive if I've ever seen one.
Yeah,
and
so this
really long engagement. Like, what's
it's literally what I was talking about before it happened. Like, I think it's Liquid not showing enough respect to their opponents. Honestly, like, again, I know this is not something people talk about that much, but I think it's like a real phenomenon here. So let's just call it what it is. Lina goes down. I mean, really not in a position to dive with the rest of the team. So Ursa just runs at her, destroys her, and then everyone else goes down afterwards. And
Speaking of Lina going down, she's about to go down again. She manages to stop the charge, but Nisha on the back line, ready to give you some of that bash. Can they get bashes between the two of them? Nisha actually doesn't have points at the bash yet, so not contributing in the slightest. But Liquid, as you were saying, yeah.
Yeah, they got into a position where if they just played already win, because Alternate need to be making kills to be in the game, to execute their game plan. But instead of playing it safe, they're like, oh no, like, you know, this game's ours, we'll just do whatever we want. And as a result, they've given Alternate an opportunity, and Alternate have seized it immediately. And again, I mean, it's similar to the dynamics of the previous game. Alternate are, I think, completely back in the game for now.
Yeah, they're doing really well. This is somewhat what happened in the first game. Alternate took a few good team fights and were really able to capitalize. Their Invoker Supreme, he plays it really well. I loved what he did down in this area where he just cancelled the TP. So they're gonna get work on a push on top tower. There's also a ward, a really nice deep ward coming out for Liquid. They actually have a few of those. And they have to say they're in a good spot, and they don't see Robert, but he has to be very careful here.
I mean, Liquid, look, the dynamic's still the same. Liquid win this game if everyone just sits around and farms. So, also need to be making plays, needs to be making kills. And I just think if Liquid, like, stop making it so easy for them, they'll be fine. On the other hand, if Liquid continue to make it easy for them, Alternate are gonna run away with the game. But, as I say that, Liquid going for more conservative play, just going for the rush, playing it safe.
And I also have to say, I really like this. Last time Supreme was on the Invoker, he tends to pick up a big major item before getting the Midas. It's kind of an odd play when you think about it. Quap will be able to just blink away. She actually blinks down, tries to go for the TP, doesn't realize the charge is coming for her. But this is all just buying time for the Roshan. I mean, Quap may die, they get the Rosh. Gyrocop is going to happily pick this up, and suddenly the rest of Alternate realize maybe we shouldn't have been going on a Quap so hard. And Supreme may just walk into all of them. Do they have dust between them? They do have dust on the Quap, unfortunately. She is dead. So Supreme has an opportunity to be a little bit ham here, but I don't think he knows it. No ward vision in that area.
Well, this is the difference between the two games for the Queen of Pain. Last game, at this stage in the game, Kuro was 5-1. Now he's 1-5, and a big part of that is, well, firstly, he didn't get those early kills, but secondly, there's a spirit break on the enemy team, so it's a good thing he's a support, and his team can take those trade-offs and say, well, Rush is worth it.
Oh, goodness. As we're speaking out whether Rush was worth it, Matama Man may just be losing this Aegis. He's going to go down here. Auto attack's finally burning through. He does a lot of damage to Robert. Can the rest of Liquid use this to set up a kill? Certainly the Spirit Break is going down. Will there be more? Either way, I think burning the Aegis is always worthwhile, but Supreme playing really far up. Maybe he didn't realize that Fodder has a haste. Tornado comes out. It just hits onto Fodder, but there's the slow. There's going to be a nice little stun on her. Mud Golem doesn't have the cooldowns, but Supreme taking a lot of damage anyway. They pick off Disruptor. And I think, unfortunately, Alternate overstaying their welcome. Probably assumed that Liquid would back on out, but no. Gonna be a snowball in onto Nisha. He should be able to stun here as well. I think they'll just lose the tier 2.
I think they saw the haste and they were just like, well, Invoker can dispel the haste, it's not a problem. And I almost feel like Alternate were hoping there'd be a dive and they could punish it again. But this time Liquid getting it right.
Yeah. So there's going to be a charge coming out and cancelled. I was about to say, there's a lot of damage you could be taking there, Spirit Breaker. But either way, Supreme almost has up that Midas, and that's going to help him a lot. Going to help him get more levels. Always good for an Invoker. Buffs up your spells. And if they can buy some time here, I do think Ursa can become a menace. He just picked up his Blink Dagger. And they go for a smoke.
Yeah, it's... I would say that... I mean, yeah, I keep talking about this dynamic that Liquid of... Well, hang on. This is Slaughter in trouble. Yeah, this is dead.
It's looking like Slaughter's going to be going down. The rest of his team smoked up, not quite able to make it. They're TPing in, and if Disruptor comes in, he drops a nice Static Storm onto one. Also a Kinetic Field. They're working on the backlines. Mind Control taking a lot of damage. They need more, though. A huge Sonic Wave comes out, and Exotic Deer. He might have the 80% damage reduction, but it is not enough, although it is enough to stop that Laguna Blade from killing him, but not the Gyrocop to follow up. And Supreme, the sole survivor, and maybe only for a little while. He needs to get something off. He's actually juking around the tree. He doesn't have Ghost Walk or anything, and so he's going to fall as well. At 5 for 2, not the engagement you're looking for.
Yeah, and I mean, I really do feel like the dynamic is, like, you alluded to the fact if Ursa gets his farm, he can be like a force to be reckoned with, he can be scary. But it's not just about getting farm, it's about his farm relative to the enemy farm, and that's why I said that the entire draft Alternate have this game is similar to that Wraith King pick in the previous game, where, like, there's really potentials to devastate the enemy team when they're in an advantageous position, but so far this game, they've only been in that position when Liquid have kind of thrown it into their hands, and I'm a little bit worried for Alternate at this stage that they're running out of opportunities to like create their own plays.
Yeah, Potter is also really close to that Desolator. He'll get the blink shortly after that. I mean, yeah, there he goes, purchasing up the whole thing, and we've got a lot of heroes on Alternate who are just kind of rocking brown boots, not much else. Starladder might have the blink, but it doesn't feel like it's enough at this point in the game. He also needs a force off because he really needs to get in and get out. And while I think this Midas is a great idea from Invoker, oh, it's going to keep him squishy, and he might take a Light Strike array here. Mind Control going for it. Don't think she has the damage in yet. He gets off the Tornado. Not sure about this turnaround though. A lot of members of Liquid are in the area. They're coming in. I think they saw them because it's daytime. Invoker just gonna Midas something. Gonna get on out.
Yeah, and Kuro, who I was saying is much poorer this game than the previous game, because he got a double kill in the last fight, is actually now getting the farm again on that support quap. So I think most things looking pretty good for Team Liquid. And mid, okay, he's just chasing with his team. They're going for the Starladder.
Yeah, Slaughter's gonna get killed. I think he's trying to buy time by going off into the trees there, ensure that these two manage to get away on the left.
Yeah, I thought my Timberman was just running at the Earth in the Spirit Break. I was like, what are you doing? But didn't notice the action lower down.
Yeah. So, for Alternate, I wouldn't say that they're necessarily out of it yet. They're definitely approaching a 10,000 net worth deficit, but as we've seen, if Liquid overextends, they can make something of it, and they've got an Invoker who's really good at taking the fights on his own terms. But speaking of Invoker, he's going to use the Tornado. The Static Storm is dropped. They have to get this kill on Kuroki now or never, but instead it looks like he might just be able to walk away. No such luck. They get the Lina as well. Talk of overextension. And Liquid giving them some big kills. Can they get more though? They're going in onto Matumba Man. Oh goodness, it looks like Matumba Man in a lot of trouble. They need a bash. The charge comes out. He also cancelled his TP, and Matumba Man exploding into bits and pieces.
And this is exactly, I mean, the chasing and catching power of Alternate's draft is like such that when you make a mistake, suddenly it snowballs into your whole team gets killed.
Yeah.
And it looks like Yurax is gonna be next.
Really impressive play from Alternate. They're going to get 4 here when I think that they should have gotten maybe 1. The Kuro, who jumped really out of position. And it's going to be hard. The fight recap, I don't think... Oh, it actually did catch all 4. Well done, fight recap. Impressive programming.
It's a pretty big goal change.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not the lead all gone for Liquid, but that is 5,000 gold down the hole that they didn't need to throw away. Supreme suddenly, you know, he just casually buys up the drums. I also think the Ursa, yeah, he's rocking almost 3,000 gold all of a sudden, right? He was not farming fantastically. It's somewhat difficult as the Ursa. 3k extra, gonna help you out a lot.
I wonder what Ursa buys in this game, because I'd usually like to see the BKB, but I don't think it's right. Well, Mind Control gets the use up to cancel the Spirit Breaker's charge, but that's not just a Spirit Breaker.
And he's gonna go down. There was TP support coming out from Jerax. There should be more now, but they go for the Nether Strike. Jerax is in the snowball. He's rolling in towards the Spirit Breaker. Another bash, of course. Gonna be a call down from Matumba Man, but everybody getting all the way out of it. And another great 2-man pickoff from Alternate. They are showing good work. Speaking of Ursa, last time he went Blink Basher, he went this casual Morbid Mask. He also actually he had a Bassi, but then I think remembered that he doesn't necessarily need the Vlads because of the change to Fury swipes. And then he picked up immediately the BKB, followed by a Deso. He sold his Morbid Mask.
Well, he's got the whole Bastion on the way to him. I was just thinking BKB maybe not the choice this game because the Queen of Pain LC, the TAs, right clicks, Lina probably get Aghanims.
At the same time, I feel like a lot of Gyro stuff, and also if he's locked down, isn't it the kind of the end of the Ursa if there's any sort of stun performed on him?
Yeah, that's probably true, but I mean, Tusk's ulti will go through it anyway. Gyro's slow can go through. It's a tough call. Like it's. I just definitely don't think he should rush it, and he doesn't see when.
Oh, they've caught Fodder out of position. Goodbye, Templar Assassin, and that is a huge kill. Despite the fact that they've been making some strides for a comeback, Fodder is still top of the net worth. Yeah, that's over 1,000 gold lining the pockets of Alternate now. Or gold exchange. At the same time, Supreme, he is going down. There is no way out of here. He is dusted. One more auto attack, doesn't even need the Laguna Blade. So quite a few core heroes out of position right now.
There's a very definite dynamic that's developed in this series, and I mean, I didn't see the first game, but it sounds like it was there too, which is that Liquid look like they're in control when they're doing their things. but they slip for a few periods here and then. Alternate just have been experts at whenever they see those windows, like, hey, Liquid are are extending, they've slipped, they're not together, they jump on them instantly and take advantage of them. So it's a really interesting dynamic where it surprises me actually that Liquid like get complacent so many times in a row, even though they get punished every single time they do.
Yeah, and it's something else, as you mentioned. Oh, we have a charge coming out onto Matumba Man. I'm really surprised Spirit Break is going for this. This is under Tier 1 tower. A lot of TP rotations coming out now from the Tier 2, but he has the Blade Mail. A lot of damage being returned. The Snowballs keeping the backline heroes all caught up, and Spirit Breaker dead. And suddenly, Alternate, they need to get all the way out of there. There's going to be a blink away Disruptor, luckily not caught in the ice shards. Still may be in a lot of trouble. Goes for the TP, but Sonic Wave going to be the end of that. And as you mentioned, a lot of over-aggression coming out of folks that's maybe unnecessary.
Yeah, and it's actually funny. Just as I was saying, Alternate are really good at pouncing when Liquid give them opportunities. There's a certain risk for Alternates of trying to pounce when it isn't an opportunity, and they're not actually in the position to just, you know, casually dive past the Tier 1 when the entire enemy team could be there. And I think that shows very clearly in that exchange, going 0 for 2.
Yeah, so we've got Ancients being taken by Supreme. He's got 2k gold up on him. I'm going to be interested to see. He seems to like to go Orchid in all of the Invoker games I've seen. It's not bad here per se, but I do wonder if... I mean, what else could he be going? Suddenly, against a Tusk, Forstaff is never bad. Yules wouldn't be awful. I do think Orchid gives you one good kill potential, but also can just really help out here against heroes like the Gyro, who has a lot of magic output and stopping Quap from getting away. But we have a smoke. I'm trying to contest the Roshan.
The problem with going Orchid at this stage is that he's going to get it around the same time as the two enemy cores have BKBs.
Yeah.
So it's really going to reduce the value. So I think if that's the approach, he'd rather just go all the way for the Hex. I'm not too sure. Orchid's an item you got to pick up a bit earlier if that's going to go for.
Also, the Spirit Break is building into a Sange. I'm assuming it's going to be a Heaven's Halberd to stop maybe Templar Assassin or somebody else. Of course, popping your BKB will remove that. Oh, but we've got a Slithering Crash onto Kuroki. There's going to be... Oh, no! The Forstaff! Who used that? I don't even know, but it's going to stop the Sunstrike. Kuroki still goes down, but now they've committed a lot for that kill. Their Support Disruptor falling as well. Exotic Deer in a bad spot, but the Nether Strike, he pops that ult and just goes for the TP. The rest of his team is still kind of fighting. A Tornado comes out. There's also a really nice EMP, but it's going to end up just burning Fodder's mana, and again, an overextension. Who had the Forstaff there? Was it Slaughter Forstaffing?
Well, I think he's the only one who has a Forstaff, so...
Yeah, unfortunately pushing him out of the strike, but doesn't matter. I feel like the Quap died, the fight went poorly for Alternate either way.
Yeah, so Roshan is like very obviously happening right now. There's only 3 heroes alive to contest though, and Tusk is just trying to stand in zone. Yeah, and now this is actually trouble. Slaughter's definitely going to be in trouble.
He should be able to get away. He can make a lot of distance, but he comes back in a little bit. They've also picked up the medallion on Tusk, which makes it really easy to do things like Roshan. And now maybe they've overextended here. Disruptor should have a little bit of vision. No, not gonna. I mean, it's hard to glimpse them back when their position 4 seconds ago was further away.
Yeah, that's not gonna work. There's a charge on the mid lane actually onto faster.
Nisha actually went in. It didn't end up going nearly as poorly as I thought it would, and they've turned their aggressions onto Mind Control, but she's trying to get the kill on Supreme. There's also not a negative own charge coming up. Mind Control going to be stunned up, taking a bit of damage from that Thunder Strike, but now Robert G having it turned around on him, and let's see if they can get out. This is support for offlaner. Maybe you're happy with that. A big Static Storm, and Exotic Tears in the backlines ripping away at them. Quap actually blinks in. I think she wanted to use that ult, but is unable to. They stop Matumba Man from escaping, and Nisha thinking about going in for more. I actually think if he jumps up there and does a few auto attacks, but it's really dangerous, especially with all of these heroes nearby, and I guess they get the better of that on Alternate.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that Liquid, had they had all their heroes right there, could be continuing to dive the way they did, but they had one hero running in through the mid lane, one up at the Ancients, and it was actually just the 2 carries right at the front and susceptible to burst. That said, Fada didn't have his BKB, it's like in his stash, and if he had it with him, very different story probably.
Yeah. And I'm just... You like what?
Have you seen the play Exotic Deer keeps making where he just like turns on ulti and TP's out? He did in the last 2 fights.
Oh yeah. It's really good. I mean, albeit it doesn't make you immune to stuns or anything, but it makes him take 80% less damage, and so we saw it. He got hit by the Laguna Blade one time, and it was like, oh, I see you didn't take any damage despite not being a strength hero or anything.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's only Lina and Tusk that can stun him. So if he's like, the first time I almost feel like if he had stayed, his team might have won the fights. But the second time was really great. So it was kind of like recognizing I've done what I came for. You've used your stuns. There's nothing you can do to stop me getting out.
So really nicely played there from Exotic Deer. I still think he needs more. He's suddenly a hero who can turn it around. Matamba Man is super deep. I know you've got the Aegis, but don't just burn it. He's actually acting as if he has a lot more support. Quap gonna use the Sonic Wave on the side. Gets enough damage with the Flat Cannon, but now Matamba Man, this might be one life down. Can they get two? Exotic Deer's in a really bad spot, and he's already popped that ulti. The Tornado, it misses and doesn't hit the right timing, so Exotic Deer should be going down. And now they have to defend high ground without a lot of those core heroes. They're also gonna lose L on that Disruptor. This could just spell the end because towers fall so fast when you've got a hero like Fodder with a Deso.
That's such insane value from the Aegis actually. I mean, you're questioning it and I wasn't sure about it because the allies were only like heading their way in. But I think it's actually a good judgment that now's the time to run in, force them to take down my Aegis, and the timing worked out almost perfectly. The rest of his team had arrived by the time he respawned.
Yeah, it ended up being a really good play, and while it looked worrisome, suddenly working out for them. Supreme trying to do what he can. He is going for that Orchid, and as we talked about, it's a bit questionable here, especially, oh, there's going to be a nice glimpse back. He's still inside their base, but he's just going to walk out the front door, and now Fodder coming in. L may go down again. Meld Strike takes over half of his health. A nice little EMP. It should steal some mana, but they've already lost the Disruptor. They've got a nice charge through all of them. The Slithering Crush is on cooldown, and now Fodder pops that BKB, and he is burning through everybody. Supreme going to go down. I wouldn't be surprised if we see GG's being called, because they are losing another Rax in this bottom lane. While though all of this is happening though, BKBs have been burnt, so maybe they get up a 5-man Slithering Curse. They're going for the charge through. Exotic Deer jumps in, trying to kill off Mind Control, wants to stop that hero that can control him. Matamba Man put in the snowball. Lina has bought back, but she has to get all the way back out of ways. Big Sonic Wave coming up, and Matamba Man, he falls, but as he dies, the cooldown gonna get a lot of kills, and Fodder also getting a lot of those. We've got buybacks coming out of a lot of members of the Radiant lineup. Ursa still going in on Fodder. Do they have any sort of vision? They go for the Slithering Cross. Robert is trying to work on Derax though without any help, and now Exotic Deer being brought down. Laguna Blade, that's a dieback, and now Nisha looking to be in the same position. Finally the Disruptor has respawned, but Spirit Breaker, he's dead. There's gonna be maybe a kill on Derax, maybe a kill on Kuroki. I'm not sure that Fodder is gonna leave their base alone though. They glimpse him backwards, trying to get him away from the fight, and L still taking a lot of damage. Kuroki's got him. Oh, he even drops his Arcane Boots, and Kuroki destroys them. That's so sad.
Yeah, that's a GG call. That's like one last opportunity to show some mechanical skill. Quickly drop your items before you die.
Yeah, always sad. Ruining the stats. I know the stat people hate it when they destroy items, but either way, it's still a really great best of 3. I was really impressed that Alternate managed to take a game off of Liquid, and I think this one had its close moments too. Yes. Yeah. Yes, I can check that for you right now if you just give me a second. I think both groups are actually a bit scary. This is, I'm believing that this is Relegation 1. It could be 2, but